everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm Jess and this is Amy, and today we're going to be talking about our thoughts on the afterlife.
So you guys don't know yet, but my grandma's a world traveler. She's been absolutely everywhere, and one of the things that she really likes to do is she likes to go to the local church, temple, can't think of other words for them.
Synagogue.
Thank you. But like wherever it is, whatever the religion for the place she is, she likes to go to at least one service to kind of get a sense of like what it's like. So I was raised hearing all these stories from my grandma, so I've kind of had a lot of chances to kind of see how like the afterlife is seen through so many different eyes. It's definitely affected my decision on how I see the afterlife. I personally, we'll might as well address this since it really obviously wanted to be addressed. In our last video, we mentioned wanting to put a little board up, a tombstone with our little ghosts. We thought it would be really cute to call you guys specters because it's like spectator, but also ghost. So that's you guys, and might as well shout out, here you go.
Well, shout out to one of our newest subscribers at Viking AP. Thank you so much for subscribing and following along with us on our adventure as a new YouTube channel. So up you go on our Specters wall.
There we go. So if you hear tape falling, that's what it is. We're getting there. As you guys can probably tell, every single time we're adding like new things. We're trying our best to keep progressing, getting cooler, and
yeah, we're learning. This is a learning experience for both of us. Neither of us have any video experience. We didn't go to school for anything like this, so we're just kind of doing our best, flying by the seat of our pants.
Oh my goodness, we got so sidetracked. What was I saying?
You were talking about the afterlife and what you learned from your grandma.
Right. I don't necessarily follow like one belief in particular. I have a bunch of different beliefs from kind of everywhere. Personally, I do believe in spirits, but I think that your spirit kind of gets recycled, but I believe there's also like a pause place in between. Because a lot of people, their whole thing with reincarnation and your spirit being reincarnated into a different body is, oh, but then you never get to see your like loved ones that passed away, and like,
yeah,
it's a whole thing where people are like, well, I was promised that reunion, and people get upset about that, which totally makes sense. And that's kind of what caused me to think a little bit further about it. The dog's messing around in the corner. And I think that your spirit goes to a place where you have like a pause, where you can really reflect on the life that you've had and, reconnect with other souls that you like missed out at a time. And that's why I also believe with reincarnation and your spirit being put in a new body. I believe that some people are like, oh, but like they died 4 years ago and they can't just be showing up now. But I don't think it's an immediate thing. I think there's like this pause place where you can reflect and think back, and then once your soul has kind of like come to peace with the life that you just lived, then you're able to go and live another one.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I believe something really similar, where you get to go, but I think that place time doesn't exist there.
Exactly.
So people are always there, but they're never there. It's one of those places where time's not real. And I also think that once you're there, you get to decide whether or not you want to go and live another life, or if you're cool just chilling in the afterlife for a while. So I think, yeah, you get to take time to decide whether or not you're at peace with what you've just experienced, whether you're ready to go and experience something new. And then maybe you get some choice depending on how you were in your real life, in your most recent life. You get some choice as to what kind of you're going to experience next.
I totally agree. Something that I don't agree with is that humans are like the best thing to be reincarnated as.
No. I would love to be reincarnated as my dog. Like, that's a way better existence than the one I'm currently living. Taxes and bills and that kind of stuff. Like, I'd rather come back as a dog who lives at a really nice house with a bunch of people who love it.
Literally, right? Like,
I
being
think that's
human
a
is
way
hard.
better. Like, being human is hard.
I think that every soul has to be human at least once
To experience
to, like,
it.
experience it, but
to
I don't
understand the heartache of it.
And that's kind of, so in the same realm, I believe in spirit guides. I believe that your spirit guide is usually an animal, but they represent something that either you are lacking in this life and it's a lesson that you need to learn in the next life. So it's kind of like a hint of what you might be reincarnated as. I believe that your spirit animal, people sometimes think that it's something where it's like, oh, you're supposed to connect with it. You guys are supposed to be the same thing. And I don't think that's true. Because
every time I talk to somebody about my spirit animal, or I look up my spirit animal, or I pull a card from a box and it's a spirit animal, it's always a big cat. So it seems to me that, like, either I was a big cat or I'm going to be a big cat. And I have, like, affinity for big cats. So it's just interesting that that just happens to always be the spirit animal that I get, because I love big cats, tigers, lions, clouded leopards, like all that kind of stuff. Love them to death. So I just think it's really interesting that I always get those. And I wonder if I was one last or if I'm going to be one next.
See, with that, I think the reason that a big cat is your spirit animal is because they have something to teach you that either it's a lesson that you missed out on learning on your past life. So they're there to be like, hey, girl. Or it's a hint of what you're going to be next.
Yeah.
In particular, so for mine, my spirit animal is a fox. Because I only think with my heart. I am not a brain gal. I've never been a brain gal. And foxes are notoriously, like, smart and sly, and, like, they are a very intelligent creature.
Yeah, very much so.
And I am currently not that girl. Absolutely not. So I feel like your spirit animal is supposed to be kind of like the other bit of you that's missing out. I feel like your big cats are telling you, girl, gotta attack shit. I feel, like.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Because I am a perfectionist, and so if I don't think I can do something perfectly, I just won't do it.
Yep.
And so I think that is definitely something that I could learn, is to just go ahead and do it. For example, when we were making this beautiful tombstone, I was too scared to do it because I was confident that I was going to mess it up and make it wrong. And Amy was like, all you have to do is round the edges. And she was right. All she had to do was round the edges. But for some reason that felt like way too much and like I was going to screw it all up.
See, I am the type of person, I will try anything. I'll just go for it. But if I don't succeed, I won't do it again. So it's like,
that's fair. If I'm not immediately good at something, I just won't do it.
The amount of times that we've discussed starting things and doing things, and we're like, we've hit a road bump.
Yeah, you should have seen how long it took us to start filming videos for this channel. We've had the idea for this channel for
pretty much the whole time we've been friends.
A year now, probably, and we just started filming our videos, so we'll probably talk about that in another video, how it was to start a YouTube channel and how hard it is to come up with content and to, figure out what to talk about and how long to talk about it. But back to the afterlife.
Yes.
We're getting off topic again.
Which will happen. It will happen.
This happens with us. We get off topic. We'll have 4 conversations going at once.
It's absolutely true. And like on different sites as well. Like we'll be talking on Instagram and texting and this, and every single conversation will be different, and it's fine.
Yeah. And I mean, full disclosure, the Canada-US women's hockey game is playing right behind you guys. So I'm trying my best not to watch it and to pay attention to focusing on this video.
That's fair. I keep looking up at it as well because I'm like, ooh, movement. And also we're Canadian, so it's in our blood.
It's in our blood. We're winning right now, and we're hoping to keep it that way. So I can't stop looking up just to make sure that we're not suddenly losing the game.
So with the afterlife, something that I think about a lot actually is graveyards. I think people have a bunch of different opinions on what graveyards are and if it's cool to be in them or if you should like avoid them and if they're a place of worship or this or that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different opinions about that, whether or not it's like acceptable to go and have a picnic at a graveyard or if that's something that is, trampling on somebody's loved one.
Exactly. I personally, when it comes to graveyards, believe that they're actually like a really comforting and positive place because the spirit themselves isn't necessarily tied to the gravestone or anything. The whole point, and this is going to sound a little hooey, but the family is burying their love at that point. It's not necessarily that spirit that's being interred or whatever. It's all of the love that the family and that the friends had for that person. Yeah. So I find graveyards places full of love because they're people's devotion to these folks that have passed away is powerful enough that they're doing a ritual. Everything is low-key pagan.
Yeah, it is all old pagan rituals.
And like burials in particular it's about releasing something back into the earth and like this whole thing. So fully, I just think they're places where people bury love and it's a lot of good intentions.
Yeah.
So they're beautiful.
I think graveyards are really peaceful. We will go to old graveyards and do rubbings of the gravestones. We have like a whole little book of them somewhere in the house.
By we, she means her and her fiance.
Yes. Yeah. So we will go do that. And it's a really peaceful kind of activity. But what we like to do is to not actually trample on the graves themselves.
That's fair.
I feel like that in and of itself is kind of it's just you're walking all over somebody's resting place. And it's like they say somebody just walked over your grave. You know how you get like that little jiggle like somebody walked over your grave? So I don't want to be that guy that's walking over somebody else's grave and 20 years ago they're getting all the heebie-jeebies because I've been walking all over their grave.
Fair enough. I do think the only thing with that is like, where are you walking then?
We try to walk in between them.
Yeah. Do you know how many bodies there are, bro?
Yeah.
They take up so much room.
Yeah. We do our best. I'm not saying that we haven't walked on any graves. I'm just saying we do our best not to like trample all over them and be disrespectful. My
number one pet peeve is when people leave litter in a graveyard.
I don't know how people litter to begin with. Like,
Very
just
true.
Take your garbage and put it in a garbage bin. It's not that complicated. Especially out in public, there's garbage bins friggin' everywhere. Like, this is not rocket science. If you brought it with you, then
you
bring
got it
it
somewhere.
back with you. Like, you have a bag full of candy. You just put the wrappers back in the bag full of candy. It's not that hard. But then, to leave it in nature and a graveyard are two of my top pet peeves. Like, just to leave your litter in nature or in a graveyard. I hate when I'm out hiking and I just come across random litter.
Like, there's one thing, it's like sometimes you'll be like, okay, I can tell that there was a windstorm and some garbage blew around. I understand humans are humans. But especially like when it comes to like hiking and stuff, all the coffee cups.
Oh
my goodness.
Why did you need an extra large Tim Hortons coffee to go on a hike? For one thing.
If you need a coffee, put it in a reusable bottle.
Right? Like
if you're going somewhere where you know there's no garbage can.
So strange to me. People are bizarre.
See, we got sidetracked again. But like, it was related-ish.
Yeah. But no, I really think that reincarnation is the most logical option. And I think that's why there are ghosts too, is sometimes people get stuck on their way to wherever that resting place is, where we take a pause and decide what we're going to do next. I think sometimes people, they either don't want to go because they're scared of what's there, or they don't want to go because they're scared of leaving the people who are still here.
I feel like spirits are the people who've been there for so long that they forgot what it's like to be alive. So like, you go there after you die, and you have the option to wait a bit. I feel like there are people who just choose to keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and eventually, like, that energy has to go somewhere. And if it's not being put back into a person, it's going somewhere, and that's probably ghost.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I guess that's why you can help ghosts move along, though. It's because you can remind them of what it is that they're supposed to be doing. You can remind them of what it was to be alive.
Exactly.
And get them moved back into the place of waiting, which I don't have a name for.
No.
I don't have a name for it. You know what's so interesting is the main reason that I thought, like, that I think this way is actually because I read a book, and it was just a fictional book about vampires or something back in my teens, and that's sort of how they described the afterlife, and it just made so much sense to me.
Fair.
Yeah. It was a weird, dark, kind of gritty teenage vampire book. I remember I had the entire series, and when I donated it to, well, not donated it, but I dropped it off to a used bookstore, I said to her, these say they're for young adults, but by young adults, they mean teenagers. Don't give this to a 13-year-old. It's too much.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple book series from that time which should have been rated higher than they were.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But this one had just like such an interesting view of the afterlife, and the vampires are able to go to this other place and kind of like find people and talk to them because the vampires are like on the edge of things. I'm obviously not saying that vampires are real and that vampires can go to the afterlife, but that's just sort of the plot of this book, and it was really interesting to see how a book that was just meant to be about teenage vampires had all this very interesting ideology about the actual afterlife. And I think it was something that changed my perspective on where we go, what happens when we die.
I actually similarly read a book that I was so sure I was not going to like this book. If it wasn't very obvious, I'm not exactly a religious person. But this book is called The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. And when it was assigned reading at my grade 7 or 8 class, it was our assigned reading book. And I remember being so reluctant to start it because I was like, heaven is so, like, the word heaven is tied so closely to religion. And like, I got plenty of religious trauma in my family. It's a whole thing. So I was so reluctant to read this book. And it wasn't at all what I thought. It was not at all like based on anything, a particular faith. And it very much talked about the fact that like you go and you meet these people who have taught you a lesson, or who they didn't even realize, but their actions affected your life. So like the last person that he meets in this book is the little girl that he saved dying. And he died saving her. Yeah. Does that make more sense? And it's just one of those things where it's like, I think that the afterlife is about learning, understanding what happened, and then being able to channel that energy into doing something new.
Yeah, and I think that's why people are so vastly different, because you've got people who have experienced many afterlives and many different lives, and you've got people who haven't, newer souls as they're called. And then you've got people who have been animals and people who have not. And so you can see a lot of, people treat animals a certain way based on whether or not, they've experienced them. They've maybe been one in their past life. And I think that explains a great deal of why people are so vastly different, because they have not only different experience in the current life that they're living, but in the different lives that they've already lived or haven't already lived.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, how do I say this? I think the people who are polarized a lot in things are just people who haven't experienced a lot of life.
Yeah.
And I feel like once you kind of experience several lives, you realize what's important and what's not important. And then you're able to really like become the best version of your soul. I think your soul is something that is constantly growing and changing and learning and developing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, there's so much learning that I want to do that it wouldn't all fit in this one lifetime.
No, absolutely. I want to learn so much, and there's so many skills that I'd like to develop that there's just not enough time in the day.
No.
Even if I never had a job again and did nothing but developing skills, I think there's still not enough time in a day to get all the things I want to learn learned.
Yeah, that is very true. But hey, I also am cheesy and believe in soulmates in the sense of like, not necessarily romantic, but your soul recognizes another soul. And then, like, there's just those connections that don't make sense if you think about it. Like, our friendship on paper, I was pretty sure she hated me for the first little bit. And she, along with our other friends, thought that I was like, I didn't like them and all this type of thing. And both of us didn't think, out of our like friend group, both of us were like, oh, we're probably gonna end up being closer with somebody else.
Yeah, I would have guessed somebody else for sure.
Fully, me too.
Yeah.
And JK, we were meant to find each other, which is gross and cheesy, but it is.
Yeah. But anyways, I think we'll end it there today, guys. Thank you so much if you made it through to the end of this video and listened to all our different ramblings and sidetracks, little side quests that we go on as we talk. But if you like what you saw here today, like, comment, and subscribe down below. And hopefully we'll see you at the next one. And maybe you'll be the next one shouted out as one of our specters.
Have a great one, guys. Bye.
Thanks for watching.